Hey, welcome back. It's Penny again. And today I feel like I'm traveling around the world because I've got the fabulous Susie Shelmerdine all the way from Turkey. And I met Susie, it seems, how many years ago now?
It's a lot of years. It'll make you cry. It's 16.
No.
Coming up 17, I think. I've been doing EFT for 17 years and I met you.
Oh,
It's
gosh, I must change my website to say that I've been doing this for 10 years. However, one of the reasons I fell in love with Susie, not only because of her personality and the fact that she's an exceptional practitioner, is I went on one of her workshops. And I think it was called Realize Your Dreams.
Yes. Yeah, it
Ah,
was.
that was just so beautiful and it's such a graceful workshop. So before I start chatting on, is there anything else you'd like to add, Susie? Because you've done so much. So what's your background, darling?
Yeah, I mean, it seems strange that I'm known now for business, but my passion was always realize your dreams. And for me, they come together. And that stems from my own journey. When I came into EFT, it wasn't to be a practitioner. It wasn't to be, out there helping people transform. It was my own transformation. I was desperately ill. And what actually occurred was I saw that it was my life that was the problem, my traumas that were the problem. And that actually, if I could change and transform those, that I could realize a lot of my dreams. And so that's how my work initially evolved. I mean, there was no pressure like, having a couple of amazing trainers like yourself on my first ever Realize Your Dreams workshop. But it was a fabulous workshop. It's one of my favorites. And then the work transformed. I love helping practitioners come into, making their own way in life and creating a business that supports their life. And for me, that's just an extension of Realize Your Dreams. Yes, I realized my own dream. The dyslexic girl wrote a book, and the unreachable dream happened. And I really do accredit that to the EFT and matrix tools. Changing up the energy to allow things to happen really brings magic into people's lives. And that's what's kept me passionate about what I do for now, over 17 years. I need those. Well, both of us need the dinosaur slippers now, I think.
Yeah, the old school dinosaur slippers. And what I love about your book, darling, and I've said this before, that I've been on workshops and spent thousands and thousands and thousands, and you make it so simple. And I wish you'd written the book before I went off to spend all these thousands. So not holding a
I
grudge
wish I'd
there, a
known.
fact on that.
I wish I'd known all the content before I'd spent thousands as well. Um, this is the thing. I mean, yes, there's price tag for value, and for certain specific, really in-depth building your business, really putting in for systems and things, then yes, there is a value attached to that. But I was so passionate about getting, the foundations out, looking at the emotional blocks and making it affordable. Again,
Yeah.
this stems from my own journey. Creating a business when you are over, thousands and thousands of pounds in debt, you're living at the maximum of your overdraft and just trying to make your way through, but realizing that, paying thousands for a specific business coach who is there for business, not for emotions, that there was a big gap missing of bringing the two together. And I love the fact that, working with EFT practitioners, I'm often asked, why is that your passion? Why don't you go bigger? Why don't you, do this with everybody? Because I love the fact that I can bring in tapping so easily and blend it. And EFT practitioners, really want to know the practicals of the business, but be emotionally supported with the tools that they love as well. And it gives them insight into their clients. The whole time they're working out of their own comfort zones, they're learning more about their clients. So for me, this is a work of passion and a work of transformation on a bigger scale.
Because I don't know about you, darling, but when I was in the corporate world and running my own business, we weren't really this could be a limiting belief, but I hear this also from my clients. In the corporate world, we weren't allowed to show our emotions. And here, what you're doing is saying we have emotions and they are interlinked in our business. And for some reason, we were never big, perhaps because of that old patriarchal paradigm, or the old nursery rhyme, little boys don't cry and women are made from sugar and spice and all that, this bullshit. Excuse my language, everyone. But it is, so important in our own business, in our own lives, these emotions. And you sum it up beautifully.
Do you know what? In the corporate world, I had exactly the same. I was told by several big people, there is no room for emotion in business.
Yeah.
Business is built on emotion. Business is built from emotion. When you get into that, there's no room for business. That's when you get into that, 1980s, sort of 1990s sales, and you have to buy. But actually, business is your emotion, because especially as a practitioner, you are selling you. You are putting yourself out into the world. And you can strip down marketing. Working with my most favorite marketing coach when I was 18 years old, grand age of, and I said to him, everybody tells me there's no room for emotion in business, but you're asking me to strike a friendship, to open a communication, to not sell, but allow people to know that they can come to you. And he turned around to me and he said, yeah. He said, business is built on people knowing, liking, and trusting you. It is built on how you act and how you stand by your word. It's a friendship.
Yeah.
And that's what marketing is talking about that friendship and opening up the lines of communication. So when people say, oh, there's no room for business, no room for emotion in business, I'm like you, I call absolute BS, because emotion is there every step of the way, just from that initial spark of, I want to share this with the world. That's where your emotion journey starts. Yeah. So business is all about emotion in every way.
It can be the driver of the passion behind it.
Yeah.
And there's a part in your book that I just loved, and on your webinar program, which was just absolutely sublime, that you talk about the difference between marketing and advertising. And I know that I really had a challenge with this in my head, going, well, I have to advertise myself. And that was one of my blocks, because I went, and so you're, how do you say it, darling? Because I want to hear it from your words, it's your heart, because you get to the root of things quite simplistically, which I love.
I do look at the fact I translate business, because I was, let's face it, I dropped out of school at 15 years old, just turning 16 actually, and I got into the corporate world. I'm still not quite sure how, actually. And I had to translate everything into Susie language. And so when I was coming through, looking at the fact of marketing and sales are so often bumped together. Advertising is in there. And that makes us all go icky. Let's face it, nobody loves being sold to or advertised to. But actually, they're all different, very different components.
Yeah.
Marketing is just a communication. It's opening up that spark of thought. It's helping people realize that there is that problem, but there's a solution to it. Yeah. Marketing is really just about letting people know you understand them. You understand their need. Advertising is getting a bit stronger and saying, call me. And selling is saying, right, this is how much it is. This is what we're going to be doing. It's taking a step down the road. And that is all it is a journey. But let's face it, due to, years gone by, decades gone by, these have such negative connotations. And a lot of us have to do a lot of tapping around the words and what they incite in you, before we even start the process of, okay, let's open that communication. Yeah. And one of the biggest things you actually touched on there is our process in this. Who am I to have a business? Who am I to be out marketing? I don't want to be that salesy person. These are all things that come up in ourselves. It's a very personal journey coming into creating any business, but certainly with an emotional based business, helping people. You know, we just want to get on and do the tapping. We want to do this, but actually we have to come out, live our purpose, live our values. And so throughout the program, it's taking everybody on a handheld journey from why you want your business, what's the passion in there, through to being able to share that through marketing, through the next step of them being selling. And as you're taken through the journey, it actually flows a lot better because you have that understanding of the differences and actually what's behind it.
I think this is where this thing, when we get to the money part of it, which that's, I think, was the deep rooted about me advertising, even though that I had built several multi-million-pound companies. When I came in here, I went, oh my God, I'm getting naked. And now I have to sell in a different way. And I was in real estate or estate agents. I've been talking to too many Americans saying I'm a real estate. Where did that come from? But I love this part when you were talking about money as an exchange. And in a minute, I'll get onto Matrix, but I think this is really crucial here. It made me laugh that you said it started with, you've got potatoes, I've got sheep, you want to swap. And then it started operating, I'm just reading this because I couldn't remember it, as a currency system. It started in China with cowrie shells, and then the Turks. And actually, you've mentioned Turkey a few times in the book. Did you realize at this point when you read the book that you were going to be living in Turkey and moving to Turkey?
I was actually, by the time I wrote this, I was in Turkey.
Oh, right.
But I previously, I love working with money. Actually, not because of the money side, because of the relationship, how money shows up in our life. And I had a course called Creating Your Magical Relationship with Money.
Yeah.
And it was during that where I was sat on my balcony in Turkey researching, you know, really, where did money start? And it was like, oh, here. How did I not know this? And it led me into actually finding out we've got money museums over in the East. We've got all sorts. And actually, I live right next door to where money started. You know, it started in the Lyceum kind of times, just before. But then this is how it took on energy. Was that before it was like, you've got potatoes, I've got sheep, let's do a swap. All in all, great. Then we started to put, you know, coins together. And then we started to, the Romans got involved because, of course, in Turkey, there's a massive Roman history, beautiful if you want to visit. And with that, it started to have a reverence. They started to revere money. They started to put in the money gods, and they started to collect money and save money. And suddenly money became this object, because if you had money, you could actually build more, you could make more, you could develop the empire. So we have the Romans actually to thank for a lot of our money issues.
Yeah.
Because we attach so much to money. But when we go back to the essence of business, we're coming into business for it to actually, and we create our own business for it to live our dreams. So what we need to do to begin with is figure out why we want our dreams, what they are, what life we want, our business. We have to do it in reverse, not I'll create the business and I'll have a life. Yeah. It's actually, what am I wanting? What is this business going to be giving me? And it's in there you find that everything will change when you realize you're not asking for £80 a session, £100 a session, $200 a session. You're actually asking for the chance, you know, your values and needs to be fulfilled. So discovering is one of mine, which means getting out and about and, you know, trying out things, playing tickets, all sorts. That's actually what it's giving you in the exchange. And it makes setting your prices and working with money a lot easier when you realize that it is, those are your potatoes. And you're going to go get sheep.
For me, one of the things I loved about Matrix, and I'm a timeline therapist as well, but Matrix really brings the simplicity of aligning that frequency and really coming out with the tail enders in our unconscious of the oh but um and we were very lucky, weren't we, that on Carl's journey we were there being his guinea pigs in the at the beginning of Matrix. um
Being there at the beginning, I mean, I was on the course straight after when he came back from his first experience, and he was just like, I've got this thing I want to try. I was very vulnerable at that point. It's like, please don't use me as a guinea pig. I was straight away, in the guinea pig section. And you're right, we got to learn that knowledge. We got to look at the research. We got to try it with people. We had so much fun all swapping, developing. It was a brilliant time and such an exciting time, because actually the tool that we have for realizing your dreams and for really creating the way in your business, in your life, for your manifesting mojo, for me, Matrix is the ultimate.
yeah,
There are so many different ways you can use it. And I love playing with the techniques that, you can use it to trigger people when you're in there, really to get to what those beliefs are, and how they're showing up in your life. Then you get this massive transformation. So for me, Matrix has been a phenomenal addition, and actually working with Realize Your Dreams, 99% of my work is probably Matrix based.
yeah, it's just so I think I said this before, so I don't want to repeat myself, about how grace and easy and simplistic is. And I'll keep on going on about simplistic, with the fact that you can bring fun and play. So, darling, I'd like to ask you, what's just one amazing experience you've had personally or with a client or on a training using Matrix, if you'd like to share?
I've got an interesting one to share with you, actually. And it's one I've been talking about recently, because it has so many amazing elements to it. It was actually a client who came to me, and she'd picked up on the very early days, Sasha Allenby was running a webinar, and she got in contact with me and said, I have to work with you. So I was, still building my business, so excited, got a client. Woohoo. And she turned around, we had our consultation, and she said, I have severe anaphylactic shock, and this is what I want to work on. And he was like, oh no, I don't do that. No, I'm not the person for you. And she's like, you are? Like, no. I spent ages trying to find her and recommending other practitioners. And she was like, no, I'm choosing you. I could not get out of this session. And in fact, I was actually crying before the session started, thinking, everything says, because I'm a little, rule keeper, don't go where you don't belong. But this client was like, no, we are keeping our session. So we started working, and just working very, very simply, because I was freaking out. And what actually transpired was the need for freedom. It was her need for freedom. She felt like her freedom had completely come in on her. And throughout playing in the Matrix, her echo went to a completely different place and just said, I need to be this. I need to kick off my shoes. I need to dance. I need to feel that energy. Next thing, we've got bonfires, we've got music, we've got all sorts going on, feeling her feet in the ground. And I will always remember that re-imprint we made for her. And at the end of it, she said, that's why I needed to work with you. I've worked with practitioners on allergies. I needed your love of freedom. I needed your energy in realizing my dreams. And she actually went away. And I turned around and said, do not test this. Under any circumstances, do not test this. No matter what you say to your client, sometimes that goes completely out the window. And she went and tested it. And she came out, she said, I had no impact, just a slight little thing. She said, actually, what my allergy stops me from doing is having freedom in the world. I can't walk down a high street normally. Should I walk down the high street? I can't go out into places and be with people, but I could.
Yeah.
I said, what you gave me was freedom. That's what I needed from you. That's why there was nobody else I wanted to work with. I knew it was your energy. And actually, she'd signed up. She had one session wonder, my first paid one. And she'd booked for 5. And I was like, well, what do I do now?
Since there's nothing else to work on.
And she was like, if we did this in one session, think what we can do in the next 4. Let's go for it. And she ended up being my client for about 6 months, exploring that freedom. And so sometimes we can not realize our own value of just what our energy brings. It's not about whether you work with that specific topic. It's trusting the tools and trusting that client has come to you for a reason. It may be because you know somebody, but if that client really sees something in you, their energy is connecting. And that's why I don't believe in competition.
Yeah. Because there is no competition, is there? There's 8.
No.
Well, I've added 1 billion people onto the world recently, because we've been talking about 7 billion people for a long time, and I think, well, we've been reproducing a lot. But in all these people, we all have something to bring. And also if the client, and my big word is the S word, safety. The client feels safe and can trust you. Oh, the dance that we weave in or co-create in Matrix is so fabulous, darling.
They have to trust us. The very premise of being a practitioner is who you are to that client.
Yeah.
So they have to be honest with you, because they're going to face a really tough journey of being honest with themselves.
Yeah.
They need you to support them, to guide them. When they can actually know that their energy is there, they're linked to you, they've got that rapport.
Yeah.
But you've got something personally that you're offering. That's going to take them on a much deeper and more valid journey than then holding back and saying, no, I don't want to go there, or, seeing it in their mind and skipping over that point. That is the very premise. So, yeah, sometimes we need to recognize, and again, this is in my book and certainly my course, of need to recognize our own value, because then we have more idea of what we're bringing to the client. And that's when the magic occurs. Had she have worked with another allergy professional, I doubt she would have had that experience.
I think this is so important, what you're saying about our responsibilities and duties and seeing ourselves, and why it's so important to reset Matrix again and again and again.
Oh
Because
my God,
every time there's a new learning. I always learn from my clients, from my students, from my trainings. And I know that we've discussed this in the past too. It's so important.
It's so important, not only for building your confidence as a practitioner, but for actually being able to go and give time for yourself. In the early days, we were, on every single course, eating it up. It was a given we would be there. Because we were learning what was happening. We were working with people, we were working on our own stuff. We had an amazing swap community. And we were living, eating, and breathing it. But I think that's what you need to do in order for you to feel confident. When you feel confident, your clients feel safe.
Yeah.
And also to have a look at the things that are holding you back in realizing your own value, your own part in the world. Because it's not about stepping into ego, it's stepping into that confidence of self.
Yeah.
That
and
knowledge.
So, just to round this up, how, in one sentence, how would you describe Matrix?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not good with one sentences, as you know.
Yes.
I wish you'd asked me that before we started the call. For me personally, matrix re-imprinting is a tool that will change your life. You can get your manifesting mojo on in a whole super duper different way. But for me, it's the chance for you to find that peace, that happiness, that self-love that you've been missing in your life. The connection with self
Yeah.
I don't know a tool that can bring anything like Matrix can. So for me, it would be Matrix is the best tool for self-connection.
Oh, beautiful, Danny. And anybody that wants to find Susie, you'll find her somewhere. I do this every time. I really need to find out this. And thank you so much, Susie, for taking the time out of your paradise land in Turkey. So thank you, darling. I'll speak to you
Thank you
soon.
for having me. Bye.